Everyone. What's up? What's up? I am Daniel, founder of FortyTwo, and I'm going to talk to you about Interchain UX and aggregation theory. As mentioned, founder of FortyTwo, worked at Binance and Machlup Ventures in their VC teams, and come from an investment banking background and fintech, and studied at Berkeley. So I'm going to talk to you firstly about something quite mysterious in crypto, and that is users. Okay. Now, why are users not doing shit? I mean, if you look at the crypto journey, this is nothing new to any of you guys, but it's connect a hardware wallet, add a browser extension, and then work through the multitude of DeFi applications across chains and across like products and yield strategies. And it's really just all too complicated for users. And I think it's like up to us to look at how to take away all that complexity. So I'm going to talk a little bit about aggregation theory. Some of you may have heard about it. In my opinion, it's kind of bullshit. But aggregation is nothing new to anyone. Like, we all understand it conceptually, and then someone put the word theory at the end, and it sounds like an academic study. But I don't really think it is, because it's kind of obvious. But it's essentially the theory of aggregators. So before the internet, people used to go to markets where you could get all of a sudden your bread and your tomato and your ham in one place. So the sandwich person who wanted a sandwich would go to a market. This would attract more sellers and attract more buyers, obviously. So the idea of aggregators or marketplaces has existed for thousands of years, and that's really, I think, the point here. And then something was invented called the World Wide Web, and this created millions of online transactions. But where did a lot of the value from these transactions accrue? Once again, to the marketplaces or the aggregators or the platforms. And why is this? And this is like the key fundamental reason why aggregation theory exists, is because users love it. Why do users love aggregation? For three primary reasons. One, it's convenient for them. Two, they get price transparency across multiple vendors. And this price transparency allows for price reductions from the vendors. So now users get cheaper prices, they can see everyone's prices, and it's very convenient. And creates a flywheel whereby essentially this attracts the users, and then more, obviously, suppliers come on. And what we've actually seen through these aggregators is if there's multiple aggregators, the one that wins out in the end is actually the one that focuses on UX and customer experience. So this is an axiom that I actually like to live my life by and think about a lot. But what people do always remains the same, like for thousands of years. Only the underlying technology changes. So, for example, marketplaces. Marketplaces have always existed, but then with the internet came new means of these marketplaces. Same with payments. People have always bartered or paid each other, but just the technology underlying it changes. And same with socializing or interactions. People have always socialized, but the technology has changed to enable it. And obviously, the big change that's happening now is blockchain. So how do we look at what people have always done and then put that onto a blockchain? So blockchain and aggregation theory, these are some of the aggregators which exist out there. And the point of them is to make these crypto enjoyable for users and convenient once again. So obviously we need aggregators because right now in the market there's hundreds of wallets. Users are dealing with the complexity of all of that. There's dozens of bridges, so users don't know really how to transfer their funds around. And there's thousands of strategies across many platforms and chains. Cosmos alone obviously has 60 plus chains, and then that's not even looking at some of the bigger ecosystems out there. A lot of intent-centric architecture is obviously super hyped up right now, and that really revolves to a large degree around how do we look at what a user is doing, and if a user says, I want to go from A to B, all the funny stuff in the middle happens automatically for them. And a lot of companies are focusing on this at the moment, specifically in Cosmos. There's Mechatech and obviously Leap Wallets also focusing on this. And I think this is going to help with aggregators a lot, because aggregators is just that user endpoint. The user wants to go from A to B, and all the funny stuff in the middle just needs to happen. Aggregators have already found a lot of product market fit in crypto. If we look at the market caps of some of these aggregators, obviously Blur for NFTs, Dune for dashboards, 1inch has obviously is huge. Nansen, Yearn, and Instadap is still up on the up and coming. But we've also seen by looking at some of like the old Web 2 aggregators how long they take to reach huge market caps. I mean, the earliest here is 7 years to reach, I guess, a 50 billion market cap from founding. And these were founded like in 95, for example, Amazon. And if we look at the crypto aggregators, they're only about 3 to 4 years old at max at the moment. This was taken from the Delphi Digital Report for 2023. One of their big trends for crypto was the making easy UX across crypto, or a front end for DeFi is what they called it. And they broke it down. They broke down the tech stack to be liquidity infrastructure along the bottom here. So things like Uniswap, Aave, for example, Maker. This is liquidity infrastructure. And the reason it's liquidity infrastructure is because there's multiple of them. This is enabling you to actually swap or lend. And in Cosmos, I mean, there's all of these across different chains. I mean, like if we look at DEXs like Uniswap, there's obviously Osmosis, Wind, Astroport, plus others. If we look at one step above this came a lot of the first level aggregators, 1inch, Paraswap, Yearn, Arrakis, for example. Once again, in Cosmos, we've seen DEX aggregation and we've seen liquidity utilization happening here. But right at the top layer is where a lot of the value will accrue, and that's where Zappa, Zeri, and DBank are currently playing, as well as Instadap. And this is where my company, 42, also wants to be at on that level of things. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about 42 to end this off. But really, we're building a front end to Cosmos and the IBC. And we want to make Interchain UX as simple as possible. So we've spoken with dozens of Cosmos users. Cosmos users have 3 main problems. They lose track of their portfolios, they're spending time seeking yields across the interchain, and they're losing tokens. We've also spoken with dozens of Ethereum users who know about Cosmos. They want to use Cosmos, but they don't really know where to start in the Cosmos ecosystem. So this is where 42 comes in. We're currently rolling out 3 products, which should be in our MVP launch in the next few weeks: Portfolio, Earn, and Swap. The Portfolio view is a way of connecting one or multiple wallets, and then you can very clearly see your assets sitting across chains. You can see a breakdown of where your assets are sitting in the apps, as well as the wallets, what's staked to validators, and what's sitting in the underlying liquidity pools. Our Earn product is a way of finding yields across the interchain. So here you can obviously see all the different chains down here and can start comparing APYs across them. So we've broken this down into different types of strategies. So staking into liquidity pools, this is with auto compounding. Staking to validators with auto compounding. So these would be liquidity pools is obviously for DEXs. Validators is to validators. Interchain strategies are things like what would be Yearn, or our friend from Quasar, we would route things to you. Liquid staking with Stride, so we're looking at some Stride liquid staking strategies. And we've currently integrated with these 4 chains as well as Kujira, so Osmosis, Neutron, Juno, Terra, and Kujira. And users can actually start going on and staking into anything across these chains. And very simply come in, you get your strategy and stake in there. And the last product is Interchain Swap. So here we're integrated with Skip at the moment. And this is really, you choose your token and choose your chain, and we'll show you the best route to perform your swap across the interchain. If we look at the market sizes here, so this is comparing it to Ethereum. Ethereum currently, if we look at yield optimizers in Ethereum, there's a market cap of 50 billion, of which 6 billion sits in yield optimizers, so 12% of the total market, whereas in Cosmos, currently only 0.1% of the total market sits in yield optimizers. And I'm actually looking at it now, this should be 1%. I was supposed to update that. Same with DEX aggregators. So DEX aggregators, currently 12% of Ethereum's total swap value, 13% of Ethereum's total swap value goes to DEX aggregators, where in Cosmos it's currently only 0.6%, because there's just no DEX aggregation in Cosmos. These are some of the other DeFi aggregators across the Ethereum ecosystem. So DeFi Llama, Zappa, Zerion. We're really are doing the dashboard play, which a lot of these players do, but we also have the underlying integrations, which kind of differentiates us. These are some of our partners. So we're using Polymer at the moment for IBC scalability, like essentially integrating our app with Ethereum apps. Skip for efficient IBC routing, Numia for chain indexing, and Abstract allows scalable smart contracts for us. These are some of the revenue models. Obviously, we've got performance fees on the auto compounder and the ETFs, transaction fees on the DEX aggregator, NFT aggregator, and purchase of tokens. And then we're also looking at other things like MEV and data analysis. This is pretty much where we're at. So we've deployed auto compounding smart contracts across 5 chains, DEX aggregation across 3 chains. We've got auto compounding to the validators. We've received a bunch of angel funding recently, and we've won a bunch of things also. And then we're hoping to launch this month or early next month. And then we've got a bunch of other products in the pipeline. This is the team. Obviously, I've given you my background. Got an amazing team. Yeah, and that's it. Any questions? Feel free to reach out on Twitter, FortyTwo_money or Daniel_42. Any questions? No? Going once.
Just to clarify,
yes.
You guys are not a chain, right?
We're not a chain, yeah.
So, no token?
Maybe.
Will you have like features like yield moss, stuff like that, or
yeah.
finance? Is it bit?
Yeah, so we have. Yeah, so we do have staking to validators with auto compounding. Yeah, and you said calculated finance.
It's calculated finance where you can do like this DCA.
Yeah.
Position.
Yeah, definitely. So we're speaking with them about incorporating their strategies too. Yeah. Yeah.